The Pet's Life with Gym Dog, Ireland's first pet resort by Des the Vet. Managed by vets, loved by pets. Daycare, vet care, premium pet food and grooming. Visit at petslife.ie.
For a Wednesday, and because it was a bank holiday, we don't do it on the Tuesday, we do it on the Wednesday instead. Des joins me in studio. Everybody's getting out and about doing various different things. We'll find out what you were up to in a few minutes' time, Des, but it's been pretty busy. We've had a good run of the old cats over the last few weeks, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. Fastest growing pet in Ireland. Cat numbers coming in, paradoxically. Cats have always been there, right? But more and more cats are coming into vet hospitals and vet surgeries. So they're the single biggest growing sector in veterinary because more and more people are getting cats as pets and keeping them indoors, keeping them in apartments. So the domestic cat, the indoor cat, is becoming more of a common thing in Ireland than it used to be.
And I'll give you two ones. One, for our households, just because the way our lifestyle was over the last number of years, we've always had cats. We have one left at the moment. But the neighbours, I can turn around and put my hand on my heart and say, within our little cul-de-sac, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cats within about 8 or 9
people look
houses.
after them really well.
Yeah. And they're all kind of... Now, in saying that, some of the blokes are probably annoying some of the women cats, and at the same time, some of the cats that are neutered seem to be protecting their turf, to say the least, as well. But to be fair, we don't hear too much killings going on.
No. Look, they're territorial, and they keep to their own territories, their own backyards, by and large. They need to be neutered younger.
Yeah.
Than say than a dog, because they'll fight if they're not neutered.
Okay, is this the reason why there's more cats are becoming more popular? Is it a case they're not being neutered? Or is it just a case that people want the cats more?
Well, I'll tell you, there probably aren't enough wild cats and semi-wild cats being neutered. Unfortunately, the sort of feral kitten population is still out there because there'll be a lot of wild cats that can't be trapped and they're breeding away.
Yeah.
Yeah, domestic cats, nice cats, they generally are. Do you know what cat breeders they typically do? They get kittens neutered at 4 months or thereabouts before they give them to new homes.
Yeah.
So that the new people that have them can't breed them, and they're just taking them on board as a pet rather than to breed from it. And that helps to control the cat population too.
My daughter is, she's on cat minding duties for her boyfriend's aunt or something along those lines. And to cut a long story short, it's an indoor cat. And she says all the cat wants to do is literally jump up and sit on your lap. Yeah.
They're very socialised.
Yeah.
So they become like dogs.
Right.
Because they become very, very used to human company, and they rely on us for their stimulation, socialisation, amusement, playtime, because their world then is where you live.
Yeah.
And you have to remember that's their only world, and you're their only contact with the outside world. So you have a responsibility to make their life as happy and stimulated and meaningful and as possible, and a really good quality of life relies on the fact that you have to give them lots of toys. So things we've talked about before here, the moving water fountains, because they like drinking water that moves, right? Flowing water. Litter trays, plentiful litter trays.
What do you connect the water fountains up to?
Oh yeah, good question. You need to get a plumber on board for that, wouldn't you? Or have a little...
Or is it a battery one that recycles the same water?
You can get both kinds.
Right, I was just curious.
The battery ones that recycle the water are the easiest, because you just obviously change the water all the time, and the water flows and moves.
Yeah, I was just curious if anybody has one of those things out there. I'd love to know.
So if you have indoor house cats, for instance, you have to have litter tray in each room maybe.
Yeah.
And beds in each room, and lots of toys, lots of stimulation. You remember, amusingly, there we called the section we did last week and the week before, cats behaving badly.
Yes.
Now, the mystery is when they behave badly, you see, we don't know what's wrong with them, or why is their behaviour changing, why are they becoming, say, cranky, or starting to scratch people more often. There's usually some form of distress involved in that.
Yeah.
Now, that can be distress to do with pain, or it can be stress as in frustration because of boredom or lack of amusement.
Yeah. Okay, good stuff. Now, question coming into you, it's regarding a dog. Hi guys, we've taken in 2 rescue dogs over the last while. I want to quantify rescue as in we rescued them from other family members because they couldn't take them anymore. We've adopted them. Good. My next question is, how do we know what vaccinations to give them? They don't really remember. One of the dogs is 8, the other dogs is 6, but we are going to look after them. What's the next step for us?
Well, they need to be vaccinated every year.
Right.
So we always talk about this. There are 8 or 9 really important diseases in Ireland, and it's the DHPPI and L4. That's what the vaccine is called. And there's another vaccine called the Bordetella vaccine, canine cough vaccine. So every dog in Ireland should be vaccinated once a year against that spectrum of diseases. So first and foremost, it's fairly simple. Your dogs need to be vaccinated. If nobody can remember when they were last at the vets, then their vaccines are due. So bring them to the vets and get that done.
Okay, devil's advocate here. If they're taking in 2 separate dogs from 2 different family members and bringing them into the one household, and one is 8 and one is 6, will there be problems there?
There shouldn't be. They're bad as mature adults. As long as there isn't a size disparity and one of them isn't a bully. You can have scenarios where one is a bully and the size disparity is too much. And 2 male dogs that are of a similar type coming from different places can be a problem. They can quite literally and figuratively butt heads. So you need to think about the neutering and whether there's a temperament imbalance or a clash. You'll have to wait and see what happens a little bit.
Okay, Jim is on. He says we've got 2 young dogs. They're both Cocker Spaniels, 1 male, 1 female from separate litters. Should I get both of them neutered or just one?
Yeah, the litter doesn't say how old they are at this stage.
One is 1.5 and the other is 2.5.
Yeah, we'll definitely get the female done if you don't want pups.
What's better for the family, for the environment?
It's better for the environment.
With the male, because you often said about males.
So I do like to neuter male dogs because what happens as they get older is their testosterone levels rise. And if a dog has a tendency to be cranky, be dominant, maybe not that well socialised, that behaviour with testosterone, it worsens a little over time.
Yeah.
So neutering them early prevents temperament issues later, especially for Cocker Spaniels, which are highly strung. So I believe the males should be neutered. But in this scenario, I'd neuter the female first. If she's mature enough, she's 1.5, because neutering any and all female dogs at 1.5 improves their health for the rest of their lives, doing it at that stage.
Right, that makes sense. And I read somewhere about Cocker Spaniels that they're regarded as one of the most placid family members within a household.
Yeah, they're not always placid, to be honest.
Yeah.
No, the red ones are the fawn-coloured ones for some reason, bizarrely, John. The colour difference. You often see a very significant difference in temperament and personality based on the colours.
So the multicoloured ones, the ones with the brown patches and the white, the Cocker Spaniels?
Generally lovely, temperament-wise.
But the golden ones?
Those multicoloured ones are usually, you're talking about a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel or a Cavalier Cross.
Yeah.
They might be a Cavalier Cocker Cross if they're multicoloured. Yeah. Usually they have lovely temperaments. The red and fawn ones can be highly strung.
Okay.
And that's an actual fact. There's a temperament and a personality and a metabolism difference between the colours in Cockers, whatever way the genes are linked.
Okay. Off to Jim over in Newcastle. How you doing, Jim? Hi, my dog has had a fever over the last while or so. Went to the vet. Everything seems to have calmed down. He seems to be still in a bit of pain. Is it safe to give my dog half a tablet of a human painkiller? Yeah,
without a full diagnosis. I'd love to know more. What I can tell you, though, is what I've observed in the last week or so is a lot of dogs have been feverish and overheated.
Oh, okay.
And it's just to do with the fact that we've had the type of climate we've had, a very low pressure, high humidity environment and temperatures of 18 to 20. Muggy weather like that is really uncomfortable for dogs.
Right, okay.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And we've seen a lot of cases of heat stress in relation to that. Now, just to give a quick answer to that question, paracetamol is the easiest and best and safest painkiller to give dogs. Just mind the dosage.
Human paracetamol?
Yeah, human paracetamol. Okay, yeah. Now, we often use it as a complementary painkiller for older dogs that are on kind of a senior care plan. We have a 12-year-old dog with multiple pathologies, numerous things wrong with them, and they might be on an antibiotic or a heart tablet and a type of a painkiller. Usually when they get a little bit stiffer and sore with old age and more or extra painkillers needed, it's very, very safe to add paracetamol.
But there is a kind of inverted commas warning it there as well. Just be careful.
Yeah, dosage-wise, you want to be careful. Do it under veterinary advice.
Right, okay.
But, as I say, a quick back of the envelope kind of an answer is that a medium to large dog can have 1 paracetamol. A small dog or a very small dog, a quarter to a half a paracetamol tablet would always be safe.
Okay, off we go to another question. Doesn't say who's it from here. It just says, if my dog is eating grass, is that good or what does it mean generally?
Yeah, it's generally no harm, actually. Dogs need roughage, they need a balanced diet, they're omnivores. They need that cellulose and bulk and fibre that's in the grass, the same as we do. When they eat grass, it's often an indicator of a bit of heartburn or nausea or, what's the word for it? Acid.
Right,
acid burn, acid reflux.
Does that mean that they could have ate something earlier and that's the reaction to it?
Yeah, absolutely. They're scavengers and they get this sort of a little reflex or an urge to balance out their tummies, and they'll eat grass to make themselves feel better. It's harmless, and there are multiple reasons to it, but it's never anything to worry about.
Caroline was on to us, she says, regarding the fountain for the cats. Boy, oh boy, is it fun to watch. She says it absolutely does work, especially in the summer when they're not drinking much water at all. But if you let it run outdoor, she said also, if you let a outdoor tap dribble slowly, the cats will drink it.
They like that too, yeah. They'll drink. People always ask, why do we see our cats drinking, out of puddles? They prefer water, and they'll drink out of rain barrels. Yeah. And they'll drink off windowsills and things like that. Water that seems to be moving. Yeah. Flowing. They love it, yeah.
Yeah. I've often seen, I've only seen my cat doing it once, was licking the leaves after rain.
Licking the leaves after rain. Funny. Yeah. And by the way, cats need very little water. I've often had cat owners come in a bit puzzled. I never see him drink, or he doesn't drink much, or maybe they're a bit worried that their cat doesn't seem to be drinking enough. The fact of the matter is, anything between 20 cc or 20 mils and 50 mils per day is enough for a cat. See a cat that is sort of in weight from 3 to 5 kg, they only need 30 to 50 mils of water per day, which is a very small amount.
Okay, there's loads of questions coming in here.
Brilliant.
So let's
we'll run through them.
We'll go through them as well. The other thing we might just have to leave at the very end. Let's have a quick look. I trapped a wild kitten about 6 months ago. Should I bring him to the vet to get neutered? Hold on a second. Neutered today. He'll take the hand off you, or is it possible to tame him if he's wild, if he's 6 months old? I think if he's wild, he's wild, is he?
If he's feral, he's feral. If he's wild, he's feral. If you can get him into a box, don't worry about him taking the hand off the vet. But, we have ways and means of managing that. Any type of a cat that arrives into us in a box and needs to be neutered, we'll manage.
But if they can't get their hand on him, how do you encourage them? What do you do? Put them into one of those doggy things with a bit of food or something? You
need to try and coerce them into a carrier. If you think that's a non-runner, go into the vets and get some sedation to put into some food. And then when he's asleep, box him up and bring him in.
Okay, brilliant stuff indeed. More on the way. I have a German Shepherd who can't take paracetamol or anti-inflammatory. What else can I give her? Well, you didn't tell us what the problem is. Maybe you could tell us what the problem is first. We can then give you the advice from Des.
Okay, look, I would say a German Shepherd, what kind of the light bulb that goes off in my head there, they get a thing called EPI, which is a pancreas problem. Okay. And they can have IBD, irritable bowel disease, and different types of gastric sensitivities. Surprising how sensitive the intestines and digestive system of German Shepherds can be. That's probably a digestive or an organ issue, and for some reason then that owner was told not to give certain anti-inflammatories to their dog. I would say the answer is you can't. If you've been told already not to give paracetamol or anything, then don't. There's a reason there to do with liver metabolism and so on.
Okay. Paul was on regarding his golden Labrador, who has been absolutely fantastic. He's 2 now, and up to recently loved his dry food. Now he's getting picky. Do I try him with different dry food, or will I mix it, or can I go separate, or can you give me a bit of advice?
Yeah, it's probably just the warmer weather. Just put a little bit less in the bowl and don't worry about it for now.
Right.
If he appears to be well in every other way, don't worry.
Yeah, and if he's hydrated, that's okay.
Yeah, as long as he's drinking away and he's in good form, don't worry. He may well eat up to a third less per day at this time of year, and that might be a good thing rather than a bad thing.
Okay. Okay, so we have 2 animals in our house, says Brian Whelan. How you doing, Brian? You're over in Selbridge at the moment. I need to bring my dog just for a general check. It's been 2 years since he's done. He's 5 years old. He's a golden retriever. He suffers from fleas and ticks and I think heartworms, whatever heartworms are. He's got a bit of dental care done and we've given him loads of vaccinations. The good news is he's a pretty good and cool dog, but I just want a bit of advice on general care for him.
You need to bring him for his checkup. He hasn't been to the vet in 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years is a long time.
In dog life.
Yes. So he definitely needs a checkup. A lot of practices nowadays will do a blood test during a routine annual checkup like that. So that would be a really good starting point. His weight can tell us a lot. A good look inside his mouth can tell us a lot.
Okay.
So, in 5 minutes in that dog's company, I could tell you a world of information about his overall health and his life expectancy and all kinds of things.
Okay, my German Shepherd, she says she's back on. She says has hip dysplasia or dysplasia.
Dysplasia?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be a reason why you couldn't give Rumacam or paracetamol or whatever.
Okay.
So a dog with hip dysplasia probably could benefit from some anti-inflammatory. I'd say maybe back to the vets and ask a few questions.
It might be a little bit.
Where to go.
They might do proper doggy pain care medicine. In this case, if it is something along those lines.
If he is painful or lame, yeah.
Okay, here we go. Hi guys. Okay, morning. My daughter is looking to get a baby rabbit, but we already have a 2-year-old dog. She's a bitch. Will they get on?
No.
Well, no.
No, not
the
fair.
The dog will eat the rabbit.
Not fair. I wouldn't bring a rabbit into that house.
No.
Another dog. If you want another pet, think about another dog or a cat or a kitten. You'd want to have a lot of space and a lot of resources and be able to plan a very separate environment for a rabbit. Otherwise, you can't bring one into that.
What
that
about
house.
we know the history of dogs and cats don't like each other, but can you bring kittens into houses with dogs, or do the cats go?
You can. Surprisingly now, how gentle and kind modern house pet can be.
Right. Okay.
And very tolerant and accommodating of kittens coming in.
Yeah.
You know?
And what about other cats? Say, for example, in my situation, we decided we wanted to bring another kitten into our neuter, Jerry.
Yeah.
Would he accept the cat?
Yeah, he might. Kitten, he possibly would. He'd hiss and spit at it for a few days.
Yeah, he would. Yeah.
But as long as the kitten was, fun and sociable, and you bear in mind a lot of these house cats, as we were just saying, if they spend most of their lives indoors, then an extra bit of stimulation and crack and company and socialisation indoors is often good for them. It's 50-50. You get these really cranky cats that don't want company, but half the cats out there actually would enjoy a kitten coming in.
Okay, two separately have just messaged us regarding paracetamol. Paracetamol, I heard, is okay for dogs, but not for cats. True or false?
Yeah, true.
True. So the caveat there in that one is it's reference dogs, it's okay.
Yeah, we're only talking about dogs.
When it comes to cats, you don't give them.
There's a whole different range of painkillers for cats because their liver and kidney functions are very different from the dog.
Spot on, man. Well done. Okay, 2 more questions. Here we go.
Good.
Morning, guys. I have a Shih Tzu, 7 years old. His coat feels oily. Anything that it could be, what do you reckon it is?
Yeah, greasy skin like that and excessive fat in the diet. I would say probably a good conversation with a vet about a change of diet to something a little bit more suitable, more balanced. That's a dog that may also have anal gland problems, may also have greasy skin, greasy ears. When I hear that situation, I'm thinking there's lots of other stuff going on as well.
Yeah.
So a vet's visit is needed there.
Okay. And there's another one after coming in. Hi guys, as well from Laura. Could you ask a question regarding my lurcher, please? Has a weeping eye, something that looks like a conjunctivitis in a child. The white of his eye sometimes gets red, but not all the time. I just clean it with a wet tissue. Should I be concerned, or is it okay to continue? He's not bothered by it. It's more that they're bothered by it, and it can get itchy, says Laura.
Yeah, I'd be inclined just to have a vet throw an eye on it, just in case. What can happen with conjunctivitis is if the dog rubs at the eye, you can get damage to the cornea, and anything on the eye itself is tricky, is troublesome. So conjunctivitis is grand, but if it progresses and you have a corneal inflammation, can be trouble. So do get the vet to look at that.
Okay, we were going to do something else. We're just not going to get to it.
I know, but look, it's been a great session, John.
Reptiles next week, because in Kilkenny there's reptiles to be found, and we'll find out more about that next week for a bit of fun as well. And if you want to text us, WhatsApp us, get us. There's a couple of more questions we're just not going to get to, but we'll get to them next week. Thank you. We'll be podcasting this episode a little bit later on this afternoon.
Great session, John.
Cheers, well done.
It's a Pet's Life with Jim Dog, Ireland's first pet resort by Des the Vet, managed by vets, loved by pets. Daycare, vet care, premium pet food and grooming. Visit at petslife.ie.